Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dustin Cormier. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Welcome to How to Rock Astrology. Today I wanted to make this little video describing an important concept that is called Param-Para. I got this concept from Vic Dakara, and we're going to see where that comes from. And I'm going to show a picture of him and his channel and everything. It comes from something called Tattva Sandarbha, the way of knowledge. And I have taken it to be a necessary background for any astrologer that wants to learn astrology. So, without further ado, I'm just going to roll right into it. Now, this video is aimed at Western astrologers and Vedic astrologers alike. I'm just going to roll with it. Astrology is full of rules, but we must take care not to let these rules override our immediate logic when it comes to defining how any figure in astrology will play out. There's a hierarchy of prominence and function in astrology. Certain rules and figures are more constant and universally true than others. For example, you can read about the house placements of planets in a chart. Western astrologers love to do this. But even in the Vedic, you can read about the house lords. And you can give someone a reading based simply on these. The 9th lord in the 1st house. The 10th lord in the 7th. Mars in this sign. Venus in this sign. But a strongly active, in Vedic astrology, we have something called yogas. Or even in the Western, we can talk about aspects between planets, arcs. And these are even more profound. And they have much more integrity of the different symbols, combining symbols. And they have more meaning to a person's experience than those placements of the planets in the houses and the signs. Like I said, Mars here, Venus in this sign or this house. If you only read the planets in the houses and signs, you essentially give the person nothing but a distorted look in the mirror. Then again, once you get further into astrology, these yogas and these aspects, these combined figures, the deeper integral dimensions of a chart mean nothing if you don't do the groundwork of defining those planets in the houses, their position in the signs, qualifying their Shadbala strength, their intrinsic strength as a planet, etc. This is a theme which I'm trying to convey in my lessons. Astrology is more painfully complicated than most novice astrologers are inclined to think. I mean, rock and roll. If you want to do the astrology thing, read it with your friends. Oh, you're a Scorpio sun. Oh, I'm Virgo sun. What does that mean? Wow, cool. I've got these qualities. It's like playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm this class and I'm this race and I have these attributes. And how can I contribute to your race, your class? Now, I'm sure there are many astrologers who take a certain rule for granted, one or the other rules for granted, or these guidelines, these forms, these figures, and they blind themselves from the experience that a person has about that figure in their chart. The person may have a positive experience with a planet, for example. Let's say having the sun in the ascendant. I could be an Aries ascendant, so the sun is strong in Aries where it's exalted. But a bad astrologer thinks, the sun is a hot planet and it's a malefic planet. It's in the 1st house. Oh, you don't have a good experience with this. This matter is more serious and destructive to you than you think. Talk about a backseat driver, right? But yet, indeed, sometimes that is the right thing for an astrologer to say. It's fickle. Astrology is the most fickle psychology on the planet. Or maybe it's more right to say that human psychology and spirituality are the most fickle thing on the planet, the most fickle thing you can talk about. This is why Vedic astrologers and Western astrologers alike consider it so important to take our knowledge from the masters who have digested the deepest conceptual roots of the sutras and scriptures over millennia. And from our teachers, that's the main point here. This isn't just true of the Vedic people. Babylonian and other astrology roots can make the same claim through their own cultures. We can all agree on how important it is to listen to a teacher on the subject. Somebody who has been digesting charts for years, seeing them in the lived experience of clients, and they can see higher ground. You know, they could see like, oh, Venus is here and Mars is here and the Sun is here, but they can combine influences so that, you know, like if you have 4 planets in Aries, it's going to mean something very deep to Mars, and Mars is somewhere else. You know, those planets in Aries mean something to what Mars is. It's the combining of these figures. Only a teacher, only someone who's seen the higher ground, can know that there's more to it than just the superficial surface figures. So be very wary of any astrologer who has not had some kind of teacher. But then again, this is part of what I want to do in this video. Be wary also of someone who takes their teacher's words for granted, memorizing the forms by rote memory, but losing the Vedic light of jnana, wisdom. Wisdom can only come from experience, time, and good teaching. And it is wisdom which gives the 10,000 figures represented by an astrology chart their integral usefulness and some concrete direction that a client can use, or that a student can actually use for a client or for whatever. Just because you see a walnut shell does not mean that there's a walnut inside. And just because a student has a teacher doesn't, or if they've studied and digested the symbols on their own without gurus, without a teacher, it doesn't mean they have the inner awakening of truth and wisdom regarding astrology's ancient symbols and dynamics. The only way to become a competent astrologer is to gain knowledge through a teacher, practice it, and constantly engage it in discourse with your teacher and your fellow students. Basically, my point is that you want a teacher, but you don't want to lean only on the teacher. This is an important dialectic. And this is where my thing about Vic Dakara and his note on Param-Para comes in. To learn astrology this way, with the teacher but also without the teacher, is to attain the Param-Para. It's a term I learned from Vic Dakara's course on the Tattva Sandarbha, the way of knowledge. So you can see here, I've got, just to show you, I've got a picture of Vic Dakara right here. Hopefully he's okay with me showing his face on my video. And also, if you look on his website, he's got this thing called the Veda 101. It's the way of knowledge and epistemology, meaning how we know what we know. I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful course. So, you cannot stick, this is me on my email, this is where I'm getting this whole thing from. You cannot stick to one side of this coin. You must revert again and again between the yin and yang of teachings from descending from above from a teacher and experience uplifted from below from one's personal experience and study. That is the way to access the Param-Para, the eternal knowledge within, the eye of the Veda. That's what the Param-Para means. I could go into the epistemology of that word. It essentially means like the eternal way of knowledge that comes down, and has not only come down from teachers for thousands of years, but has been refined all that time through experience of people doing it, but also descending from teachers from the ancient ways. It's a combination of both of these things. Now, we must use rules in astrology. We have to have some kind of rules, or else we're like a ship without a sail. The sail, the knowledge, guides us on the waters of our intuition. Knowledge, facts, figures, ways. This is what guides our practice so that we're not just all over the place. It's like a sail. But the waters of our intuition are really what take us to where we want to go in astrology. Any good astrologer will tell you that. Now, we need these rules, though. And this is the reason why Ryan Kirksack is putting so much effort into his Asheville astrology classes. I don't know if you guys know Ryan Kirksack. My boy here, Ryan is my teacher. I am a student. I'm going into year 3 of his apprenticeship course in February. And his apprenticeship course is run through Asheville Vedic Astrology. This is his website. Feel free to check it out. AshevilleVedicAstrology.wordpress.com. Ryan Kirksack is himself a student of Ernst Wilhelm, who's really has an incredible knowledge and is doing a lot for this whole astrology buildup in today's time. This is the reason why Ryan is doing this with his classes, and he's really putting them out there. He's not doing the apprenticeship program anymore, but he's putting this stuff out on YouTube as a teacher for all of us, as well as many people are on YouTube. We need the rules. We need the logic. We need to read the scriptures and the texts, whether you're Vedic or whether you're Babylonian based. But we must confer amongst each other, against each other, with each other, so that the rules we use in astrology do not turn into dogma and blind faith. If you want to make scrambled eggs, follow your intention and do it. But if you want to make an omelet, you will fall by the wayside and turn it just into scrambled eggs if you don't follow the instructions on how to do it. Some instructions. Wherever you got to get those instructions. Hopefully they're coming from some lineage that's been stewing on the process for longer than 50 years, or just like someone's half-baked sort of like intuitive ideas. Follow some instructions on how to make an omelet, and then practice it and converse with friends on how you did it and how to do it. We all need to expand this way, or else our practice will always be scrambled eggs, and we'll never know how to attain true conception in timeless self-knowledge, whether you're a Vedic astrologer or not. There is the self in one is the self in all. And there is a way of the human life experience that's evolving not just biologically, but also internally through the harmony of the psychodynamics and elements of human consciousness. And this timeless self-knowledge is something that we need to apprehend through instruction as well as through our lived experience, like I've given in that duality picture. That's my take on Param-Para, the eternal knowledge, only being able to come through the duality. I lost my picture. Oh, there it is. Param-Para only coming through the duality of Shabda, instruction, and Pratyaksha, ascending knowledge from personal experience and study. You have to run through both. So, as you can clearly see in my little script here, thanks for watching, folks. Stay tuned for more wisdom teachings from yours truly, as I take my time to contribute in my own ways to the emerging science that is the ancient wisdom of the Veda. Don't just take it from me, as this is the point of this whole conversation. Don't just take anything wholesale from anybody. Always question authority, as Timothy Leary said. Discern for yourself where it is the right place to go with your path. But inform your discernment with the way that others have gone before. I hope you guys have enjoyed this talk. My name's Dustin Cormier for How to Rock Astrology. I hope that you guys check out some of the teachers. There's so many invaluable teachers on YouTube for us to check out today, because the Veda is just unfurling like crazy. And if you're a Western astrologer, of course you can tack by the same concept. Just find the right teachers. Look for someone who's been attached to the lineage that's been going on for so long. My name is Dustin Cormier. Sat Nam. Namaste.